So friends, day after day, Donald Trump continues to give aid and comfort to the insurrectionists. But you know what? Jack Smith is keeping book on Donald Trump. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, on January 6th, Donald Trump's supporters, his angry mob, went to the Capitol on his orders and attacked. They assaulted police officers, they destroyed property, they hunted for politicians left and right, Nancy Pelosi, Mike Pence, and more than 1,000 of them have been arrested, they've been charged, they've been indicted, and hundreds of them have pleaded guilty. What does that mean? It means after they had the benefit of competent counsel, an attorney representing their interests, they went through the evidence that was amassed against them, they decided to plead guilty, they walked into court in a plea hearing, they were placed under oath by the judge, they swore an oath to tell the truth, and they admitted that they committed crimes in violation of the laws of the United States on January 6th. They pleaded guilty for what they did. Many of them went to trial, and a jury of their peers convicted them one after another after another. Many of them were sentenced to prison. A good number of them are in prison serving sentences as we speak. These men and women who tried to stop the transfer of presidential power, who tried to deny Joe Biden his rightful election win, who tried to end American democracy. And Donald Trump calls these men and women, many of whom admitted to their own crimes in court, he calls them hostages. Hostages. And it's not just Donald Trump, it's this character as well, Elise Stefanik, probably, throwing her chit in with Donald Trump, hoping to be his vice president. Hostages. This from Voice of America. Trump downplays January 6th Capitol siege, calls jailed rioters hostages. This from NBC News. The reality of Trump and Stefanik's January 6th hostages. And that article begins, in recent days, former President Donald Trump and one of his top allies, Representative Elise Stefanik, have referred to the federal criminal defendants incarcerated in connection with the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol as hostages, a comparison equating the American judicial system with terrorists and militant organizations. This quote from Trump, they ought to release the J6 hostages. They've suffered, Trump said over the weekend. I call them hostages. Some people call them prisoners. I call them hostages. Release the J6 hostages, Joe. Release them, Joe. You can do it real easy, Joe. Stefanik, who has served as the number 4 member of the House GOP leadership since then Representative Liz Cheney was ousted from the position for criticizing Trump's actions in connection with the January 6th attack, echoed Trump's words on Meet the Press Sunday. I have concerns about the treatment of the January 6th hostages, she said. Since the attack, more than 700 supporters of the former president have appeared before a judge, sworn an oath and admitted that they engaged in criminal conduct on January 6th. Many committed only small criminal offenses and were sentenced to probationary sentences without any time behind bars or to short terms of incarceration. Others, like MAGA-hatted rioter Daniel D.J. Rodriguez, who drove a stun gun into the neck of former Metropolitan Police Officer Michael Fanone after he was abducted by the mob near the Lower West Tunnel, have been sentenced to significant periods in prison. And friends, I would contend that the White House got it exactly right when they said, Trump calling those convicted on January 6 charges hostages is grotesque. But you know, friends, in addition to being grotesque, it also constitutes giving aid and comfort to insurrectionists. Donald Trump has been pledging love and pardons for those who attacked the Capitol that day, for those who assaulted police officers, destroyed property, hunted for politicians, and tried to stop the transfer of presidential power. Donald Trump and his new little minion Stefanik have been pledging support for the insurrectionists. Donald Trump has been pledging love and pardons to the insurrectionists. If that's not giving aid and comfort to the insurrectionists, I'm not sure what is. You know, there are multiple ways you can commit the crime of insurrection. You can incite it, you can engage in it, or you can give aid and comfort to it, to the insurrection, to the insurrectionists, and that's what Donald Trump does every time. He pledges love and support and pardons, and he urges the President of the United States in almost mocking terms, release the hostages, Joe. You can do it, Joe. It's easy, Joe. Boy, is he aiding those insurrectionists. Boy, is he giving them comfort. But as I say, friends, Jack Smith is keeping book. He's keeping book on Donald Trump. Every utterance by Donald Trump is an admission, is a confession, and is admissible under the rules of evidence and will be used to convict Donald Trump at trial. Friends, I don't want to say things are closing in because it feels like the walls have been closing in on Donald Trump for years, if not decades. But things are happening on multiple fronts. Donald Trump will go to trial. Donald Trump will be criminally convicted, and Donald Trump will be sentenced to prison. That's one front. In state after state, the disqualification battle is being fought. Donald Trump may very well end up being disqualified for engaging in insurrection and giving aid and comfort to the insurrectionists in any number of states. That's the second front. The third front, it looks like his poll numbers are beginning to slip. It looks like another Republican candidate is gaining steam and gaining numbers. I'm not a big fan of that person, but that's the third front, the political front, the disqualification front, the criminal front. Donald Trump's days are numbered, and as I sat behind him in that courtroom in Washington, D.C. yesterday, during the appellate argument on whether Donald Trump is a king and above the law, beyond the reach of our nation's criminal laws, he's not. And the court is poised to rule he's not. I saw a man defeated. I saw a man scared. I saw a hollow little shell of a man who was inside himself, not making eye contact with anybody, not talking with anybody, certainly not campaigning, not shaking hands, not engaging with potential voters. I saw a man who was scared, who was defeated, and who is resigned to his fate. You know, he can spout off all the bluff and bluster he wants. Even he knows what's coming. He knows what's coming. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.